So welcome back to another edition of the Effing Details podcast. I am Mark Simmons, and you are?
Jill Simmons.
And we're on this side of the couch again, as it were, which means we obviously have a special guest with us. But before we introduce our special guest, our ask, as always, is please, 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 we don't like to beg, but it's not above us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify or on Apple Podcast. And you can also find everything at effingdetails.com.
Yeah.
All right. And what's our email address? Any questions, email us at?
Effing Details.
Yeah, we always mess this up. Anything at effingdetails.com.
Yes.
Okay. So we are really excited to welcome our guest, brought him in all the way from Perth, Western Australia.
Woo-hoo.
That's what we do.
Yep.
Mr. Mark Graber.
Hello, good morning. Hello, everybody out there in YouTube world. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for taking the time with us.
Yeah.
Mark.
My pleasure.
Really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have known each other. Well, we've all known each other since 2017, I think is the big thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things, especially for you and I, the very first time we met at an Earl's restaurant, and you started talking about your life, and I started about my life, and we're like, me too, and you're like, me too, and even to the point where the sticker you had on your laptop, the Haida Orca, is the exact same Haida Orca I have on my back.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a sister named Madeline, I have a daughter named Madeline, like it goes on and on and on,
Yeah.
our synergies, and it's been really great, and we've done a whole ton of work together.
And we're 2 months apart.
Oh, our birthdays are 2 months
Yes.
to the day apart, same
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Who knew?
And we're both called Mark.
We're both called Mark. We are.
Do you have a middle name?
It is Samuel.
I don't have a middle name.
You don't have a middle name?
No middle name.
Oh, I just removed my middle name. I no longer have a middle name. I'm just Mark.
But Samuel is my grandfather's name.
See?
Oh,
Right?
there's another one. Wow.
Yeah.
It just doesn't end.
Yeah.
And so, Mark, our Effing Details podcast is really about, the idea of it was really because of getting stuck in the details.
Right.
And how many people around us, including us, used to get stuck in the details, where it stopped us from doing epic shit. And you can swear here because that's what we can do. And then there's sometimes when details matter.
Right.
And so we have some questions for you. And by we, I mean we have some questions for
I'm
you.
looking forward to it.
Yeah. So how do you want to start off? Tell us about yourself. What do you want to know?
Like,
About Mark.
what do I want to know about?
I know there's a
Mark?
list of questions.
I have so many questions. I think the number one question that I have at this moment is, when did you start surfing?
When I was 9 years old,
Oh, okay.
my dad was a pretty good swimmer, so he was a body surfer. And in the days at Perth, we lived about 20 minutes from the beach. And we had this Holden car. There was no air conditioning. They call air conditioning down under before the cars are air conditioned, 2 windows down at 70 k's. And went to a beach called Trig Beach. And in those days, you used to use these, what you would call lilos. We'd call them surf mats, and they were like a canvas mat that you'd blow up. Had two handles at the top that you'd hang on to. If you went bare-chested, you had no nipple left by the afternoon surf. It rubbed off and was bleeding, so everybody had T-shirts. And then we started adding flippers at the back, so give you extra propulsion. And then I got my first foam surfboard when I was about 10, and started riding that like mad, and then fiberglass boards and boogie boards, which are the modern-day version of the surf mat. And nowadays I just ride longboard, single fin longboards. I've been fortunate to go all around the world doing that, and my son is mad into shortboards, so nowadays I'm either filming or taking his boards to the shop to be fixed. Yeah, so 9 years old, short answer.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I guess for us, it's like, when did you learn to ride a bike in Vancouver? 8 or 9. they're surfing and doing some crazy stuff.
And skiing and
skiing,
snowboarding,
yeah.
they're all about the
for
same.
sure,
Because
yeah.
you
I guess
need
we
the
did
same
that too.
balance, skateboarding.
Yeah.
You're not going to put a 2-year-old on a skateboard. You know what I mean? It's just,
But we do. I put my 3-year-old on skis. So
You did,
yeah, they're pretty young when they go on skis.
And I remember when you first got here and everybody learned you were from Australia and you love surfing, everybody would say to you, "Oh, you got to go to Tofino." Remember that? You got to go to
you have to
Tofino.
go
You
to
got to
Tofino.
Tofino.
What is that? Wish I had $1 every time. I went there.
Right? And you're like, it's cold. I get to surf at home when it's warm.
Yeah,
So we're
exactly.
warm water, so, you know,
Yeah.
16 degrees, board shorts, bathers that are shorts and rash vests. In the winter it is 3 mil wetsuits.
Yeah.
And it's quality surf. They have the World Surfing Tour, goes to Margaret River every year, and all the way along the West Australian coast as the waves wrap around the Bombay and the bay and sweep into the western coast of Australia. You get all those swells that come across and they hit the point.
Right.
So they hit the southern point of Western Australia and they sweep all up the coast. So there's lots of great surfing spots.
Sure.
And it's an island, so it's compulsory. All the children in schools have to learn to swim.
Oh, interesting.
And the government absolutely subsidises all the swimming. It's called VAC swimming or vacation swimming.
Right.
And during the summer, they always put on 2 weeks of, 10 days of swimming lessons at all different ages, which is fantastic.
That really is.
Yeah.
So would you say that you're competitive when you surf?
I'd say, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'm less so now in my 50s than I was in
Yeah.
my 40s and I was in my 30s.
Right.
I'm more just about the quality of the occasion. I suppose with age and wisdom, you're just enjoying the moment. So I'm
Right.
kind of lucky, some days if I get what we call a bag full. So in Australia, we have fishing limits. So the colloquialism is a bag limit or a bag full. If I got 12 waves in a session, I'd be stoked.
Oh, okay.
I'd be really happy. I'm not
Wow.
out there to get 35 waves and get everything. It's enjoying the moment and stuff like that, pretty much.
You're an adventurous guy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you like adventure, you like adrenaline.
Yeah. I love adventure sports. I love water sports. So I probably feel sometimes more confident in the water than I do on land.
Right.
Just height and size, and I just love being in water. I love mountaineering and climbing. I really love bike riding, all versions of it. I just love that median of being able to stop wherever you want and that time to distance ratio,
Yeah.
which is a big highlight of my life, is time in many factors. I enjoy the challenge of the outdoors and conditions. And so from one gadget man to another gadget man, I
Yeah.
love the gadgets that come with it and the clothing and
Right.
the style changes and how mountaineering has now morphed into modern day, much as exercise gear is now modern day wear, and the suit now can contain sand shoes or runners, that kind of change. I've been fascinated by Everest all my life and mountaineers and people that have challenged themselves and what were the gadgets, and I love shows like Alone and the tooling up of what they use and things like that. So so it's always been a passion. My reading as well, I love those kind of movies and films, etc. as well.
So it's very interesting because you have a degree and you teach in what realm?
So I have got a bachelor's and master's, and I'm a mathematician.
Wow.
So I teach mathematics currently. I'm on contract with the Education Department in WA, teaching students in WA Government High School mathematics, and I range from year 7 to year 12 specialist maths.
Why math?
I love mathematics. I love the beauty of it. I love the fact of it. I love the handwriting nature. It was my strongest subject at school. My parents had to take the maths books away and put English in front of me because that was what I would generate to doing the maths questions because I was good at it. I loved its gadgetry. I love the compass. I love Statler lead. I love the degrees of HB and B pencils. I love sharpening and rubbers and graph paper and unit circles and sine curves and cos curves and the accuracy of it all. And there's real beauty to it, Fibonacci and all of that stuff for me. I was drawn to it.
Oh, interesting.
And I love the beauty of numbers, the actual writing of numbers, the configuration of writing the letter 7, how we write a letter 5, which is different to an S. An X is different to a multiplication times symbol. And you know, if there's a hierarchy, if you talk about the animal kingdom, there's a hierarchy in school subjects. And the mesh subjects are the hierarchy: maths, English, science, and humanities, right? So yeah, I knew I wanted to teach in one of those areas. Also, when I was a younger teacher, pathways for career, you know, a lot of maths teachers went on to be deputy principals, timetablers, coordinators, those kind of stuff, because of your affinity in dealing with that kind of work.
Right.
Yeah, so, and I love teaching it. I still love the amazement I get in my 7s and my 12s, and
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And when I was talking to Mark earlier, you know, our podcast, Effing Details, about letting go of details.
Yes.
Yet in his profession, it relies on details.
No, I know. Well, that's
Right?
why I find
Like-
it very interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that-
One of the coolest things you can do. You can do many things.
Yeah.
One of the amazing things I've seen you do, and we've heard many people comment about it. So Mark and I are in a networking group called B&I Together. Mark owns the franchise here in British Columbia, and
I
I'm
do.
sure we're going to talk more a little
Yep.
bit about that in a bit. But he has this crazy unique skill.
I know what you're going to say.
You do. To remember everybody's name, details about everybody you meet. Even if it was like 7 years ago, you're like, hey, so-and-so, hey, how's your mom doing? And they're always so shocked that you remember all these things. And you told me how you remember all that. Love to hear that. How do you remember?
So it's a learned skill. It's not the science of rockets. It's a learned skill, and it becomes in learning primarily the second name. Because if you think about passwords and 4-digit passwords, let's just even say a 2-digit password, right? We've got 99 opportunities. And obviously the combinations increase with 3 and 4. And a person becomes more unique the more characters you add. Mark Samuel Simmons, right, if we count the characters.
Right.
Jill, I don't know your middle name.
Catherine.
Jill Catherine Simmons. So that gets locked away now. And that's a unique combination, like a DNA for each person. It's hard when you meet 15 John Smiths.
Right.
Right, but then I need to know and put a picture beside it. And so I think, being a mathematician as well, I have compartmentalised like a personal headspace CRM, right, which is constantly reminded by phone, Facebook, LinkedIn, picture recognition, long-term memory, short-term memory, and a reminder of writing notes about people. And so in a class, so this year when I started teaching, I had 194 names to remember of students.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And the hard part is A, pronunciation, and B, the different ways of spelling names. Amelia can be spelt 70 different ways, right?
Right.
And so practice and recognition, and also repetitive nature, wash, rinse, repeat. And also it comes back to another theory, which is the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hour theory, that I've been doing networking and have mastery of networking because I've done more than 10,000 hours of it, that this is part of my profession. So it's a learnt skill. So meeting the person for the first time is the most important to get the name right, because Mark hasn't told you the other side. The other side is, if I meet you and the name is wrong,
Yes.
it's gone in wrong.
Right.
And
Yes.
it's much harder to eradicate the wrong name
Yes.
out than bring the new name in.
Yeah.
Right.
And so there's that as well. You know, there's other little techniques, you know, writing people's names, having pictures when you're in a meeting. Every time someone speaks, you're writing their name down, etc., where they're seated in the room, just like a classroom seating plan, you know, where all the children are when you're marking absent, present, etc. You're doing the same sort of thing in your head. And then my connection to remembering certain parts is the uniqueness of the story. The dad rides an Indian motorcycle. The mother
Right.
was the CEO of a famous art museum. There was some particular incident that reminded me, and I can put that association to the name.
Interesting.
And so it's just practicing it. The gratifying effects that it has are undoubtedly clear, because when someone recognises you and says their name, you know, it's a nice intrinsic feeling that people like. And so I've practiced it a fair bit. Do I get it wrong? Of course. But I'm also have got my backup secondary line 2, line 3, line 4. that gets me to the point to where I'm remembering again, or where did I know them from, or where have I met them before. The hardest part is in remembering names of students you've taught, because I haven't changed, but they have changed. It's easier with adults.
Right,
You see
of
this with adults,
course.
like, when did your shoe size change? It hasn't for the last 25, 35 years, right? So adult remembering is easy because the change is less, but imagine you're teaching a year 7 and you meet them at 17 and 27, they've completely changed, but you may not. So they recognise you first, and you've got to go, did I teach you? What school was it at?
So me changing my hair color, does that mess you up?
Probably. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Messes me up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And also because I taught at a girls' school for 12 years, so all of their surnames changed.
Oh,
So
of
when
course,
you meet them,
yes.
so there's no recognition on the surname. So now that
Right.
whole thing is flipped.
It's flipped.
Right,
yeah.
so I currently teach with 2 students that I taught, right? And so Claire was a different surname to what she's teaching with. And I'm like, I know you. I know you.
Yes.
She goes, yes, Mr. Graber. And I'm like,
Yeah.
where were we at? You know what I mean?
Right.
What, and so that was great.
So learned skill, you have some mad skills in it, and there's other things going on in your head as well, which really contribute to that, right? At its base, though, one of the things I feel important things you had said that it's kind of applicable to anybody is you do a lot of writing. Like I watch you wherever. You are always writing, not so much doodling, but drawing, writing. You have journals and journals and journals. And I noticed for myself lately, like when I'm on calls or coaching calls or whatever it is, even if I'm just moving the pen on paper, I'm able to remember it more for some weird reason. And it hasn't been a normal thing for me. So part of what we do in the Effing Details is kind of guide or help or contribute to some things that some people didn't know that they could do. And networking is kind of a key to success in business, right?
Totally.
How important do you feel it is to be writing, to taking notes, to doing those kinds of things?
So the broader question is that it's actually a dying skill.
Yeah.
That handwriting, and to me, I mentioned about the writing of mathematics and the tools we used, and Mark knows that I write in fountain pens. So I actually mark all of my students' work in fountain pen in green and reds, etc. And I'm really into my fountain pens. And because the skill of actual handwriting is disappearing in favour of voice to text, and ChatGPT, where it's just printed for you and copy and pasting. The knowledge transfer is a pedagogical one. It's how we learn, and it's sort of how we remember. So if you've got jumping to the to the memory parts of the brain can happen while you're writing at the same time. It's like if you're turning your brain into thinking what I'm saying now into words. Imagine you had a ticker in front of your head, and just past is the words in front of your head going in front of you, then you're remembering at twice the speed. So we used to do those speed reading, remember in schools when they did speed reading cards?
Yeah.
So I think that handwriting can replace that a bit in that it helps you remember. The other part is it maintains that you're focused. The other participants at the meeting see that you're focused. And it also is an opportunity for you to be creative and elegant, I think, because you can write in different, whether you use shading, bold, underline, note-taking. I tend to draw and scribble sometimes, or do means. I'm very much into clouds and ideas.
Right.
And I'm a writer. I love writing. So, you know, I'm continually always throughout my life I've written books, and I'm currently writing as today. And I really enjoy that process. But again, it's the gadgetry. I love filling it with ink. I love undoing it, washing the fountain pen, etc. And also, I think there is a certain subjective approach that you look at when someone holds a pen.
Right.
It's like if you go to dinner with someone and they pick up the knife and they're like this and start digging into the food and putting it into their mouth, you're going to make a judgment on how they eat.
Sure.
Or they're going like this and they've got no idea what, that general decorum of what the tool is used for. When you see a kid who's not gripping a pen or pencil in the right way, or it's elongated or curvature or whatever it may be, it's like, well, where did you learn to write? What drawing have you done? And you can see kids who've got artistic talent, they also hold a pen and pencil differently. They'll grip and it'll be mastered by the index finger.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether, and probably there's studies already telling you that students have lost that dexterity because everything now is driven by the opposing thumb,
Right.
because of texting and flicking. Whereas when we grew up, we were writing everything. You guys remember the beautiful thing of passing notes in class?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Students
I
will never do
remember.
that. They won't get that passing notes, pass it along the line. You know what I mean? Like, so for writing for me is something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And especially dealing with the large number of people that come into our network, writing down their names as we go and ticking it off. And even if I'm remembering 3 of them in particular, it helps me by writing it. Also, so does the colour.
Yeah.
And I like to write a lot in pencil, and then I write in fountain pen.
Yeah.
So I had no idea that. I think I did know that you had written a book, but I didn't know you were writing a current book. So do you ever get writer's block? And if so, how do you move forward with writer's block?
So when I was in the university sector for 12 years, so I had to write academic articles for journals, and my area was mathematics education and isolated and distance learning at the university sector, predominantly in the Bachelor of Business degree and in the MBA program. I mean, it's students all over the world and essentially remote and how did it work and using technology, etc. So I wrote a lot about that, which you're just doing survey studies, hypothesis testing. I started writing more for purpose, predominantly in maths education, when the implementation of graphic calculators. So then it became textbook, workbook, do this question exercise, how do you break that into a calculator, here fill in the gaps, and it was textbook, workbook type scenarios. And then I started writing formally with 9 other authors, as Mark knows, within BNI, each with a different country. And we wrote about entrepreneurship in what we call a trifecta or a triple: entree, the beginning, preneur, how you look after the business or the entity that you're talking about, and ship is our final edition. And then I've been writing non-fiction, historical non-fiction, a book for about a decade. So I was researching it and building it together and finally coming to completion. But it's been a cathartic experience in writing it, and sometimes it's a go-to, when I feel I really want to sort of express myself or just write as a brain dump. And then I write other ideas that I've got, etc. I think, probably there's other books in here.
Yeah.
But I just, time and dedication to a project, because I like to complete what I start.
Yeah.
Right.
Switching gears a bit.
Yeah.
On one of our last podcasts, we talked about a little bit about introvert, extrovert people, right? Would you say I see you as a very extroverted person.
Yes.
Would you say that yourself, you're an extroverted person?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
But I think there's adaptability, right? So if I'm being particularly quiet, people will go, what's wrong with you? You
Right.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for
Or
sure.
If I'm not particularly loud, some people have a presence that size and height plays a big part.
Yeah.
Because just volume and mass, you can't stop that.
Yeah.
I've spoken to, when I was in the university sector, I'd have audiences, of 800 students in the Elizabeth Joly Lecture Theatre twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
So you're speaking in front of large people. I've done that at conferences in BNI. But there's definitely parts that you can gear up. I noted from your last podcast, for me, going into a room of 5,000 people is not a problem if we're prepared, and Mark and I presented together, so we know what we need to be prepared, because it would frighten the bejesus out of both of us if that was cold called.
Right.
Like suddenly we were
Yeah.
called up in 5,000, please talk about this.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be able to do this necessarily unprepared in front of 5,000. It would be too intimidating, because you'd be
For sure.
wanting to influence the audience rather than listening to what questions you're asking me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're worried about the response.
Yeah, I do know that, and you and I have both had this happen to us multiple times, especially in regards to BNI network groups, when we show up and we're asked in the moment, hey, can you present on this? And we have like 32 seconds to prepare on it, but we're able to do it because we know the topic.
Right.
We're pretty familiar with the topic.
We can slot in, much like the rocket engines, you just bring in a module, boom,
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
And you and I can talk for
Yeah.
that, so that's no problem.
You know, I've seen you, Jill and I have seen you at conferences, and I don't think I coined the term the Graeber effect. I think it's been around for a while. But you'll see pictures of yourself, of Mark, talking in just groups or in a hallway or something, and there's all these people around him looking up at him, because he's very tall, with this wonder and excitement, and their eyes are gazing, just listening and taking you in, because you do have that presence.
The charisma, yeah.
And the charisma. And I always say, well, you know, he's also got a cool accent. So,
Right. It's
you know, if I had that,
Yeah.
maybe things would be different. I don't know.
It's about effing being embarrassed, is it? You know,
Yes.
you're embarrassing me now.
Yeah, it's okay. But it's true, and it works. And you got to use your qualities for you too, whatever we all possess.
Yeah,
for sure, right?
You play to your strong point. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. And there are times where I enjoy the solitude of doing things on my own. I'm a human person. I enjoy the company of others. There is no absolute pure fact that young children elongate elderly people and bring engagement into their lives. I like working with students as well, as much as I love working with adults, where I can feel the energy in the room. And I know both of us feed off that. However, there is a caveat. And the caveat for Mark and I has always been is we love to be prepared. When we're prepared, and we generally, both of us are over-prepared people. We're making sure that we're covering a plan A or a plan B. What happens if this doesn't work? And I'm thinking back to when we did the CEO conference in Warsaw in Poland.
Yes.
Both and I, and Mark and I, he probably hasn't divulged, but we're Lego certified in serious play. And we ran a conference workshop, and we had different options as to timing, how it was work, remember?
Yeah.
You know, so those kind of things. And I think when you are, it's like I never get to the airport late. It's just something I never do.
Right.
I don't like that feeling. So as you get older,
Yeah.
How many times in the last 40 years have you run out of petrol? Yet when you were younger,
never.
in those days happened. It wasn't part of that mechanism of reminder. So so being prepared helps to be more gregarious, and also having confidence in the content and the nature. I'm confident that I could stand and deliver 2 hours worth of quadratic equations without a single combat of people wanting to argue. The fact is the fact.
right.
And delivering that content, because I've done it so many times. I understand what are the learning points, what are the pain points, where do people have difficulty in understanding, where do you break it down? And we know that with networking. We understand what groups work, why they don't work, what are the recipes, what can we do to improve it, how do we make the cake better, what's the dressing looking like, is it too flat, too hot? We know and can diagnose and look at that. And it doesn't always balance, but there are parts of it where being an outwardly forward person can help, rather than sitting back and waiting for the problem to happen. And I'm like the kind of person that, you know, sometimes people have to make mistakes to learn, because you learn more when you get things wrong than when you get things right.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to step in and go, look, I've seen this numerous times before, please, this would not be the right path that I would suggest.
Yeah, I know that there's been many puberty. I know there's been many times that Mark and I have gone together or separately. We've talked about it after we'll walk into a group. And one problem, not a problem, a challenge for both Mark and I think I can safely say, is editing our inside voice and making it not come out, because we'll see things, and then at some point you're like, are you kidding me? And then you're like, what's going on here? And we step in, which sometimes can have a positive impact, and sometimes we've both been run out of town, literally run out of town, and we got in trouble from our mom at one point as well. But it always is that weird kind of balance. Like, you want to help people, and you can see this is what to do, and they're not always open to receiving the information, obviously.
I think in life, if no matter what you go, if you go with your heart that you want to help someone, and that you truly believe that you're wanting to help,
Right.
then I think then that all will be forgiven or forgotten if you offend someone, because you've only tried to lead with your heart.
Right.
You've only believed what is to be correct. You haven't got any malicious out there. There's no agenda. You just think, and that's the beautiful part that I love that I play in B&I. That I'm able to say, from my experience, this is what I think works, and this is what I would do
Right.
You know, this is where I would send my children for swimming lessons or to go and play softball or football or whatever. And if I'm prepared to step in those shoes and do it myself because I've walked that path, then it should be good enough for you to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and my brother-in-law is an emergency physician, and they use laser technology to close up wounds and stabbing and stuff. So if that's the pathway forward, why are you now wanting to go back to stitches with cotton, which cause infection and more damage?
Yeah.
Why are you reverting back to something that we know doesn't work, yet this is the pathway forward? So
Right.
for me, that's it's kind of like a common sense logical. That's arguing for the sake of arguing or wanting to call black white when it's not. And again, why do I love maths? Because 2 + 3 is 5, always. You want to argue?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about B&I a little bit. The burning question that I have for you is surfing, right? You also, adventure guy, you also climbed where? What mountain? Base camp?
Base camp, yep.
To?
Everest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so those are big adventure things. Before we get into the B&I journey for you, how or do you use any of those skills, anything you learned that led you to B&I? You know, what do you still use?
It's a really great question. I would say in there is a minimalist approach. The Swiss Army knife comes from a minimalist approach. So you don't have to carry 15 different devices, all, you know, it's separate parts, it's all compartmentalised. And I love that approach. I love smart design. I really love utility of tools. So I'd say that I am a fantastic packer in terms of suitcases and moving. Again, the mathematics part of compartmentalising, the challenge of achieving new heights, but also recognising, you know, like unfortunately didn't happen in 96 when all those people, the largest deaths occurred on Everest, is because they didn't turn around at the right time and decided to hit Hillary's step and not make the decisions that they should have. You know, that when is the death zone the death zone? Just like with surfing, I'm not surfing double head high anymore. I'm in my 50s.
Right.
So my son's in his 20s. That's for him. That's the challenge that he'll get to, and he'll go higher than I went. But I think having that challenge on the landscape, that adventure, whatever that adventure is for you, and that adventure may be crocheting, or that adventure may be lawn bowling, or that adventure may be challenging fashion icon trends, whatever it may be, that challenge is what keeps us going. Right, so you want that kind of challenge, because then ultimately life becomes Sudoku, Wordle, getting the milk and the papers every day, and, you know, doing your circuit of walk. And not that is a negative thing, but for me, I just want a challenge.
Right.
You know, so it was very challenging in the last 3 years returning to the classroom after not being in it for 25 years.
Wow.
But what I recognised is that the classroom management stuff hasn't changed. The education transfer hasn't changed. The respect that you have for learning and belief in students and loving students and wanting them to do as successful as they can be hasn't changed. Has the technology? Completely. Like in medicine, completely changed.
Right.
The technology now, the robotics that we have, the graphic calculators, every single classroom has a linked up smart television. Where I was the only person in the room with a laptop before projecting, now every kid's got full access, and that access is amazing and at warp speed. And we can now use a whole range of different platforms that do auto marking, selecting, error classification, so you can personally diagnose that a kid can't do algebraic factorization of division. So you just set questions for that, but then this student needs percentage work, and that was all you would have to spend the time. And so yeah, massive changes in that front. So that adventure, that open landscape, I also love new things. Mm-hmm. And I also love people who have spent 10,000 areas in their thing, because everybody has a thing. No matter who you meet, everybody in the world today, and if you continually chase that there's that person out there, what is their thing? And it might be that they collect antique chess pieces and just queens. But why? What are the most expensive ones? What were the chronological order? Again, time for me, because if I can find a time contact, that's a really good networking skill for me. So you know, the adventure is the exciting part.
Yeah.
You know, was it laborious in times? It is now when we update our phones, but it wasn't when I first got Microsoft Windows and I was changing the background every time and rearranging the photo. You know, like, remember that? None of us do that. When was the last time we sorted our photos?
Right.
I mean, going through sorting photos now oh my God, it's mind-numbing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? And is mind-numbing on an Apple that I want to move them from the recent into their folder and I want them off the recent.
Yeah.
I don't want them anymore, you know what I mean? Because I still got to scroll so finding that new adventure is, come on Apple, reinvent the photo area. Let's make it a lot better and user friendly, because we're all holding 5,000 or more photos.
Yeah.
We need voice activation that goes, photo I took at Lionsgate Bridge, and it lists it for you, you know?
Yeah. It really does.
Yeah.
I like that adventure, but then, you know, I love the adventure that a year 7 student showed me the other day. Mr. Grover, yep. I said to our man, he goes, have you seen a new feature on the calculator on Google? I said, no. I said, Jill, pull up your phone, go to your calculator, and in the bottom right-hand corner is a symbol that shows a calculator. And if you click on it, there is a button that says currency.
Oh, the currency button,
Convert. And you can list the convert.
Yeah.
Which, what does that mean? That means that all of the websites, all of the apps that were developed to do currency conversion have just been eradicated in one foul swoop button swipe. Mm-hmm. Because now the Apple platform will do automatic conversion for you to and from currencies that sits on your calculator, where it should have sat.
Yeah.
So, what an adventure that is.
Right.
Kids
That's for sure.
teaching me different things. I love that.
Yeah.
You know, so that open world adventure where technology is going to take us.
Right.
I mean, the children of today and the digital natives will never get it, because we grew up with Star Trek flip phones. We grew up with the Jetsons.
Yeah.
So they won't ever see those dreams. We grew up with MASH.
Right.
We saw all of that they won't understand the evolution of vinyl to CD, VHS to discs to streaming.
Yeah.
8-track.
Yeah,
8-track.
8-track, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 points I have. Number one, speaking of Google and adventure and technology, I do, as you know, with Jill's fashion blogging and everything, I do all the pictures. And every single day, Google gives you see Google Reminder. Google reminds me every day of who my wife is.
You're so lucky.
It sends pictures every day of her. I never forget who she is.
Yeah.
Second point is this. So you talk about technology, and there's a lot of technology, especially in your education world, there's a lot of technology. And then there's this back to basics thing, which is almost, my grandfather always used to talk about the cigar box. Oh, I hate the cash register. Just give me a cigar box. It's a lot easier, right? It's easy. And so networking. We've talked in our podcast about networking, the importance of networking, where to find your network, how to find your network. Even if you think you don't have one, you have one. And that's a big part of what we want to educate on. And networking is really grassroots.
Yeah.
And you're a master at it.
Yeah, so the question is the basics of networking.
Yeah.
And what are the basics of networking? Don't be shy or fake.
Yeah.
You're not going to meet people if you don't talk to them. Be prepared. And that doesn't mean having a script. That means having a pen in your pocket, having business cards. Mark knows my routine, left and right back pocket, Sharpie in the right. It's all military.
Right.
Comes from that military background, which says, I've got my Sharpie here, I meet Jill Simmons. Jill, thanks for your card. Jill on the name again, you talk about remembering.
Right.
I write Jill down, I'll turn over and go fashion consultant.
Oh.
Put it left pocket. Left pocket will be keep store, right front pocket will be goes into the lackey band and then into the rubbish bin. Because it's not something that I'm going to connect with, or it's just we've just done the transfer.
Right.
Right.
You know, as Ivan Meisner, Dr. Ivan Meisner says, you know, the spray and stay stuff, they just spray cards at you and you just collect because it's an easy way to just...
Yeah.
Fall forward, be up front, know your numbers, speak in short sentences, have keywords that recognise you, dress appropriately to the job that you do, speak about the job that you do. speak and look at people in their eyes each time. Have a firm handshake, I believe, is important.
Yeah.
Recognise the culture that you're in. So how you might do, people say Australia and Canada are very aligned, but maybe networking styles and cultures are different.
Right.
It's certainly different, we know, from other places in the world,
Right.
and being accepting of that. The other part that I think that I've always tried to do is, wherever I've been, I've always tried to learn someone else's language so that I can practice it. Even though I'm so basic at it, the mere measure of me accepting to try and learn some of their language is fantastic and is an accommodating thing to them. It shows vulnerability and also then accommodates and drives towards greater connection.
Right.
Absolutely.
So when I introduced myself in Mexico, buenos dias, mi nombre Mark, Executivo Director, BNA, British Columbia, and welcome to people, even though I might scramble all over that, the connections that people have made because I've made an effort and an attempt to do that.
Definitely.
And it probably sounds so terrible. Apologies to all of my Spanish-speaking people that I know. Finding people is interesting because we're not mind readers, and humans can camouflage themselves extremely well. And so, and finding that, people will say, go for dinner with someone, see how they treat a waiter, or, how does somebody open a door? Is there chivalry, non-chivalry? How do they greet people? I think that you go in, basically you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so you should be listening more than you speak.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think listening is a skill that needs to be so focused on today, especially because the rate of adult ADHD and entrepreneurs who are already thinking about the next question, the answer to the next question before listening to the question that was already asked.
Right.
And so they're moving that fast, but that's what they're used to because that's the behaviour of their world, is moving so fast. They're making so many decisions, single decisions in a day. And being laser focused.
Yeah.
None of us want an accountant that is also an artist and a bricklayer and a builder and also learning to be a plumber. And now I just want an accountant to be my accountant. Yeah, you have hobbies and whatever, but I want someone that's doing that. Like side hustles are fantastic. We love all that. But, in the level of professionalism, I don't want my heart surgeon to suddenly decide that, he only wants to do that an hour a week.
Right.
Or I don't want my neurosurgeon. I don't want to be the first. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but so
Good point.
So
Very good point.
So for me, it's be laser focused.
Yeah.
Right.
You and Jill have also a very similar skill that I've seen. I have it to a lesser degree, I would say, but you have a similar skill, is that you two are so incredibly super curious about the person across from you.
True.
I've watched both of you networking, and you ask just killer ass questions, and you have the ability to really build people up across. I watch you do it all the time, promoting the person across from you.
Yeah.
That's why they're looking at you, because you're doing those things, which is a crazy skill that I admire in both of you, that you have this ability to be so curious, ask the questions, and listen.
Right.
And listen.
But we're all standing on the shoulders of greats. Politicians and parliamentarians have always learnt the double repeat in Parliament, so they'll make a comment. And the opposition has made 17 dreadful errors in the last fiscal year. And I'll repeat that the opposition, because they want that repetition, and again, that's a memory thing, etc., it's drilling down. The other part is as well, when people love talking about themselves. So if you want to find out more, question more, and they love people that are questioning them more or asking them curious, intelligent questions that they go, oh, wow, I haven't been asked that before.
Right.
Or how did you put that together? Because now they're thinking about, how are you thinking?
Right.
I guess the hardest person to do that with is when people are being monosyllabic. No, I don't know. Or you can see that they're not into. So when you've got people, that's my hardest personality to deal with, is the person that just doesn't give away much. It's a hard stone to break, right? And then I kind of figure to myself, well, okay, there's a two-way street.
Right.
There's a graceful exit needed. Correct.
Yes.
Time to move on.
Exit stage left.
That's it. Yeah.
It's funny, I don't run into too many people like that, though. most people, when you start to engage them, they really kind of open up and engage back.
And you know what is one person said to me, and Hazel, who coined the Graeber effect, has said it as well, because strangers will come up to me and say certain things, right, like out of the blue, and I don't even know them, right? Never met them before in my life.
Right.
But what I do know, because I can see it sometimes in Jill's videos, and I've definitely seen it with you, is people can see when you're working in your flame. They can see when you're passionate about what you do and that you love what you do. And it doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, people can see it, right?
Right.
And it's kind of like there must be this shining aura or, some kind of shining light that appears above you and people are going, oh my God, maybe they see it, we don't see it.
Right.
But you know it when you feel it, because we just said it before, where did the time go by in this? It just goes by so fast. Right? Whereas you could be sitting waiting in a doctor's surgery for 30 minutes and it feels like 5 hours.
Oh, absolutely.
So working in your flame and being passionate about what you do, and I feel that I'm fortunate that I work, but I don't feel like I have a job.
Right.
Because I love what I do. I love going to teach these kids. I love it. It's fantastic. I feel privileged.
Yeah.
Absolutely privileged that I can still impart my knowledge, my education to them to make them stronger and pathways through school, etc. But ultimately what they give me back is tenfold more than what I give them. The energy, the stories, the currency, the fashions, the issues that children are dealing with today. So different from when I was raising children and for you guys when you're raising grandchildren, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And the troublesome waters that some of them are paddling through. Mm-hmm. So, so it's if you have passion and you enjoy what you do, I think it comes out with you even having to say it.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about BNI.
Yeah.
Right? Because everything has led you to BNI.
Yeah.
Business Network International.
Yeah.
It's global, which is why you're here and I'm here.
Yeah.
And Jill's here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we've seen the world together.
Yeah.
We have.
Thailand and Warsaw. And it was when you talk about what's a cool experience in your life, standing on a stage at the Bristol Hotel in Warsaw, Poland, where we have 120 or 130 of those
in custom-made aprons,
and we're wearing custom-made cool aprons, running a Lego workshop.
Yeah. Remember that birdcage lift? Remember the lift there in the hotel? Incredible. It's crazy
experiences that we've had because of this networking. So you never know where things are going to take you.
Right.
Right. And you've been through many sort of iterations. When I met you, had a web development company as well.
Yeah.
And you're in BNI, and you had just bought the franchises here in British Columbia with your co-executive director with Hazel. And let's talk about it. What got you here? What do you love about it? What keeps you up at night?
I love the whole business of the BNI model from the start. Before we had 100,000 members. I love the model. I love the whole part. I felt that I'd found my people, and I was going in there as a web designer, having a web business, and making the amount of money I did in my first month was just incredible. And hello, could I replicate this? How do I replicate this? And then falling forward into various iterations in BNI in Australia, and then having a connection with great friends here, and then the opportunity to buy. And in 2 years' time, it's a decade we've been owners. It's incredible. And the journey of going through that and the learning, the adventure of doing it, seeing the bubble of excitement of brand new members as both Mark and I experience in launching and chartering new groups, and they're just so excited coming to a brand new school for the first time, and now it's really going to work and the time is really here, etc. And being an entrepreneur from life. And wanting to be able to, I saw what an amazing opportunity British Columbia was. When I did my geographical studies and modelling, I just felt that there was just unbelievable opportunity. The socialisation factor and the way the Canadian community get together was just incredible for me. And I dream big. So what keeps me up at night is how do we get to 10,000 members? Mm. What keeps me up at night is how do we keep the members that we've got now, retaining those, to looking after our newest members better than we can ever do before, the continuous, endless progression cycle of improvement. What do we do better? Can we continually analyse? How do we make the member experience better? All of that. I love all of the new technologies, and you're a huge part of that. You know, the AI implementation that we've been using, the video, the amazing job that, you know, you do with Walker This Way and educating and those kind of things. And I love our team effect. And basically, we call it the equilateral triangle effect. And both Mark and I have a point and Hazel has a point, and that equilateral triangle spins depending where the direction needs to be. And the other two are the wingman supporting. And I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm a team guy, I'm a team player, so I enjoy the BNI aspect of it. We'll probably get to 500,000 members in our time, and probably closer to 1 million with our new CEO, Mary Kennedy Thompson, and I'm looking forward to that evolution as we grow forward. And so that's an adventure. What keeps me up at night when I'm in Perth is Zoom calls into British Columbia, because they start at 11 and finish at 3 or whatever. And I'm also like a bit of an Einstein theory, you know, like 6 hours is 6 hours. I can get 6 hours. I can survive on 4s and 5s. Apart from having great name recollection and memory, I'm also, I think myself personally, purely subjective, ego-driven. I think I am a fantastic traveller. I can fall asleep in an airplane seat before the plane takes off.
I hate you for that.
I know. This last trip, I didn't even turn the monitor on. I was asleep, you know. So the ability, so I think what that is because my brain's moving all the time, that when I'm in those long periods, I know that I'm sitting there, I'll go into a deep sleep.
Yeah.
And so knowing how to utilise my time, I hate waste.
Yeah.
I really hate waste, and so I love vintage. I love recycling, upcycling.
Yes.
I know you guys are big family favourites of that.
Yep.
And I like trying to, you know, work smart, not hard.
Right.
How can I do it quicker? And Mark emulates a lot of that for me, so I do model a lot from some of the stuff that you've taught me over the time, so as you know, and just
better watch myself now.
Yeah.
I so companies have goals, business have goals, and for me, how do you know when your business has goals? And we talk about this in networking too, is we have different tiers of referrals. And the best referral is when someone refers business to you, and that person's now starts referring business to you. That's like the gold. And so it's really about advocacy. You're creating advocates for your business. And one of the advocates that I know that we have for BNI, weirdly enough, is Jill. Like, I've been to so many places, networking or not, and somebody will be talking about business, and I'll be quiet. And Jill will say, have you tried BNI? And then she markets, she knows everything about it. She really does.
Yeah, I do.
Like a real advocate for it. And it's pretty cool to see. And now I just like, ask Jill.
Yeah,
So
he
she'll tell
does.
To Jill.
He says, ask Jill.
about to Jill, because
She'll
she's
tell you all
really
about it.
a big proponent about the benefit of it and building your business. And it takes people like you to own the business, so we have the opportunity to build our businesses within it as well.
Because the premise of BNI is
Giver's gain?
correct.
Giver's
Giver's
Yeah.
gain, and that really resonates with me, and I think it resonates with you as well.
My mum, that was always never give to receive.
Yeah. And it's actually never proven wrong. And we'll watch sometimes in the member world, you know the givers and you know the takers.
Yeah.
And the takers may win for a while, but it's not sustainable. And at some point,
Right.
they bow out.
Right.
And, our daily work in the BNI world is keeping members driven to make money, grow a business, make money.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. And so, key to success. Mark Graber, what is your key to success?
Consistency.
That's a great word.
18 minutes a day is 100 hours a year. You're going to spend 18 minutes on something, you want to do 18 minutes on push-ups, it's 100 hours a year. I also think continually learning. Okay, so for me, that's just I'm just always doing it. I'm not a television watcher. I'm a YouTuber by far. I love learning new things, intricacies. I love watching masters at work. I could sit and watch Itzhak Perlman play the violin as a master of the violin for hours. Do I want to go every single week? No, but I love watching people when they're at the peak of their understanding and mastery. I would say secrets to success. If you're going to do a job, do it well. Grandfather. Seat the restaurant from the front. Have queues outside. There's a sense of anticipation. Don't divulge too much to too many.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody needs to know everything.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't.
They don't.
Hazel taught me, that's a great question. Why do you ask? Again, the ultimate flip. And I learned, when you think about Samuel J. Popple, the guy that invented the Discomatic, right, one of the greatest pitchmen ever in American history, right, talks about the pitch and the turn when you're talking to people. And, you can put a salesman into an actor, but an actor can never be a salesman because the actor doesn't know how to ask for the money. And so in BNI, we know that we're driven by member success, which ultimately, if you look at the end product of the algorithm machine that turns out, is money, right? Because all of these actions have to result in the success, and our measurement of success is money. Right? So as an entrepreneur, no one comes and pins something on your chest. So if you're looking for that, don't go and do that. Go and work for the government so you can get a 10-year plate and a 20-year watch. Right? If that's what you need, if you need to hang something off to show that you've got a job, then entrepreneurship is not for you. Because if you're not prepared to sacrifice and prepared to go through times where it's going to be difficult, and if it's not, then you're not being an entrepreneur.
Right.
You're IDB or IMB in daddy's business or in mummy's business, and the mistakes are covered by somebody else. So keys to success are prepare. Just keep learning, doing as much as you can. I look at your journey in the YouTube world, and look at where I'm sitting now. From where the learning is incredible. I'm in awe.
Yeah.
I'm totally in awe. I am. And and I think also there's humility. And at times we stumble. Everybody stumbles. There's no perfect human.
For sure.
Right? There's no, the human that hasn't experienced trauma. Hello, it's coming. That train's coming sometime.
Yeah.
So being a realist, being accepting. I think my faith helps me because I know where we've come from and what we've had to deal with. So it's accepting of other people in that nature, and accommodating where I can, feeling for people who are less fortunate. And understanding that, and ruminating isn't good. Ruminating doesn't help. I'm a huge ruminator, and it's not good. So I have this little voice. It's kind of like Scottish. Hazel can talk about her angels or whatever. I call it this little, and it says in Scottish, "Stop that." Don't need that thought. So when the ruminating, there are times when it's important. Yeah, the Bible's full of ruminating, etc. But for me, it's like, okay, fail forward. We all make mistakes. Where do we fix it? How can we fix it? And if, like I said previously, if you're leading from the heart, this was not meant to be malicious. If the mistake was made, then I apologise and we move on. Right. And I don't want to carry it with,
Yeah.
Really great advice. Do you have any final questions for?
I'm just taking it all in.
You seem to be, Usually you're the question person, but
I know, but I've just actually learned a whole lot.
Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah, which makes sense as an educator and a professor is always teaching too, right?
I'd say one thing. I used to get told off as a kid. Mark talks too much in class. Mark's asked too many questions, right? And yet today I find that I'm loving the fact of how we question. I'm just reading What the Dog Saw by Malcolm Gladwell, you'll see it on the couch over there. And it's the study of how come we got so many, there's a story about what they call the tomato sauce king. How come we got so many versions of mustard, but Heinz tomato sauce never changed? Right. Who thought of that question?
Yeah.
Who thought of the question that what's the perfect toaster that does the toast correctly on both sides? Who thought of the question, why can't I test a kettle boiling when I buy it from a shop? All those questions, right?
Yeah.
You know, like you buy a brand new kettle, you come home and it's like volume 8 and it like wakes the whole building, you know,
Right.
like what? Why didn't somebody put a volume rating on a kettle? So and that's where, to a certain degree, that's where AI will catch up, but it's not there yet because it hasn't got the inquisitive nature that humans have got. That
Right.
going down the rabbit hole type
Yeah.
scenario. So, yeah, questioning is good.
I was going to say I'm a victim of the Graeber effect.
Yes, 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 you are. It's real.
Yeah,
it's real.
no, guilty.
So, Mark, you know, I'm going to propose we do part 2. We're going to call this part 1.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're coming back here in months from now. We will do a part 2 because
Okay.
you're probably the world's most interesting person.
Absolutely.
That's what we'll coin you.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of knowledge and expertise to clearly
Thank you.
impose on other
Oh,
people.
I'd love
absolutely.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do people if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do we get a hold of you?
It's, again, fortunate not having a middle name. So there's only one other Mark Graeber. He's a PhD doctor.
Okay.
But if they were to search Mark Graeber, BNI BC, you'll find me.
Okay.
Or via my email address, mark.graeber@bnibc.ca.
Perfect. We'll have that in the bottom of the screen and online.
Through BNI is probably the easiest. Find me on Facebook as well if you want to create a friend link and do that on Facebook. It'll be great.
Beautiful.
Or come through the other Mark in my life.
Yeah. You know, you can never have too many Marks in your life.
Exactly.
That's what we always say, right?
And well, it's just bouncing emails.
There is,
Yeah.
which is pretty funny. And so we have for you our Fuck the Details hat and our Fuck the Details mug. Well, and this is the old school one. We have new logos, which we'll send you when they arrive too.
Fantastic.
But wear them proudly. And for you, you know, Fuck the Details is a thing, and more so for you is like, please don't fuck the details. Like they really do matter.
They really
you
do
would
matter.
never tell your maths kids.
You know what I was going to say?
Don't.
We bought a stamp that a lot when you're marking tests. So you've got a question, and if a student doesn't show the working out and the question's worth 4 marks and they get the answer correct, they get the full mark. So if the answer's 16.7 and there's no working, they get 16.7, they get 4 marks. But if the answer is 16.7, they write 15.2, they get 0. But if they show some of the working out along the way, they get what we call part marks. And we call that show your follow through, or you'll show your working out, and we call it follow through as the markers. And we have a stamp that says show your follow through. When you think about that as a message for life, show your follow through. You may not get the right answer, but on the steps getting to it, you've got 75% of it right. You've only got to correct 25% and you'll get the right answer.
Right.
So it's that extra 25% that may be the difference between success and giving up. Because people
point.
want to get to the answer straight away. The generation they want to be the Instagram influencer after 5 minutes.
Right.
There's steps to getting to the 75%. And I'm sure many give up going, is this really worth it? Am I going to turn it into a money generating opportunity? But no, those that keep going, because when you hit 76% and 78% and 80%, suddenly you're in the 80-20 rule. And we know what the 80-20 rule's like. Pareto law. So, you know, like, okay, what does 81 look like? And then you're now into Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek says, find 7 things in your business that you can improve 1% in. Try that for 12 months. Just 1%. Can you get 1% better at following up an email? 1% better in content messaging? 1% better in the time that you spend on the phone? 1% better at reading books? Then you're at 82%. And then mastery comes and the success appears. And it's because you did the working out.
Right.
Yeah.
You showed the follow through. You know, we can award you that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's too bad you don't get passionate about things, Mark. I know you should learn to just engage more, man. Great. Great advice. So, Mark, we want to thank you for spending
Thank you
time
so
with
much.
us,
Appreciate it.
sharing your information with our viewers. We're looking forward to part 2. And again, if you want to reach out to mark.graeber@bnibc.ca, find him on Facebook, find him everywhere. Reach out to us. Anything at
Effing Details.
.com. We got that right. And thank you all for listening. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcast. And you can also check out our website, effingdetails.com, where we also have our Fuck the Details swag. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
See you guys.